We are following a shooting tonight along the interstate in southern Kentucky that left I-75 in Laurel County shut down for several hours. It reopened around 9:20 tonight. We know that several people were injured, and tonight a manhunt is underway. Take a look at your screen. Police have identified a person of interest. This is 32-year-old Joseph Couch. He is considered armed and dangerous. He is a white male, about 5'10", weighs 154 pounds. If you see him, police say do not approach him. Anyone with information is asked to call 911. We want to go straight tonight to London Mayor Randall Weddle to get the very latest information happening there in his city and his community. Mayor, good evening to you. Can you talk to me tonight about this suspect that we're searching for? And are we only searching for one suspect tonight? Could there be others?
Yes, at this time, it's only believed to have the one subject. Earlier, there was some confusion with some witnesses.
This manhunt began Saturday night and it continues here on this Monday night. There are multiple agencies with boots on the ground as we speak, both in the air and on the ground. The terrain that they are searching, it is unforgiving. It is tough forest land. We're talking about part of the Daniel Boone National Forest. Again, as I said, it is unforgiving. And so State Police says if Joseph Couch is in there, they say they want him to walk out of those woods and they want him to turn himself in. And they say until he does that or he is caught, they won't stop.
When we're looking for somebody, we have to go through those dense areas. We have to go and make sure no rock is unturned to find not just him, but to find evidence. And when you do these things with all the people involved, you've got to have communication.
We are talking about KSP, the Laurel County Sheriff's Office, London Police, the FBI, the ATF. They are all here in the London, Laurel County area searching for Joseph Couch. They have to be exhausted at this point. But what we heard today in that news conference is that they absolutely will not stop. Today, we learned a lot of new information, including learning about the moments that those shots first rang out on Interstate 75 this past weekend from those drivers. We are hearing the chilling 911 calls. Those are newly released 911 calls made from the interstate from the victims themselves and what they experienced. Multiple cars were hit. We know that 5 people were injured. WKYT's Phil Pendleton spent most of the day going through these calls and listening to just how frightened all of these folks were in those moments that those shots rang out. Phil? Not a lot of details being released at this time on that shooting situation that killed Deputy Josh Phipps. That will come in time, certainly. Tonight, though, what we are learning is more about the man being called a hero. His badge, number 1442. His truck is right behind me, and even at this hour, people continue to stop by and leave mementos at his truck. A memorial now, a growing memorial to both his life and his service to this community.
Held a few.
Dolly Parton is a living legend. We all know her music career with countless hits. She's graced the big screen and even written books. But for the last 30 years, she has been on a mission to make sure that more children read through Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Earlier this year, Dolly was in Lexington to celebrate the expansion of the Imagination Library statewide. Over the next half hour, we are looking back on our one-on-one interview with the Queen of Country herself, and we'll show you how she's making a difference in this state when it comes to more children having access to books. What does it mean to you? You know, kids know you as, you are Dolly, but a lot of kiddos, they just know you as the book lady. So what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. A lot of those kids don't even know I sing.
Ashley, you're going to get in there. You're going to spin everything. Chris and Shelley, as we're doing this was your second year with us. This is very personal for you guys. You're a family. It's a family-owned company. Why was it so important for you guys to be doing this again this year?
Well, I mean, we've talked many times about it, but it's just so important to be able to make even if it feels like a small difference, it's a difference. And so, I mean, the lives of children, the future, is worth every bit of effort.
Absolutely. And when we see these two right here, this is exactly why we do it. All right, Ashley, do you guys, Mulberry, you get in there and you pick the winner, okay?
Okay.
Get in there. And then we'll pull it out and we'll see you guys. All right, this is so exciting. So many of you have made this such a success. $800,000 raised this year for St. Jude. Get in there good.
Okay.
Okay, got it. All right, guys.
Ooh, so much
Here we go. All right. Deborah Carrier of Stanford, Kentucky. Deborah, you just won a brand new home from Mulberry Builders. Thank you so much for being a part of this year's St. Jude Dream Home giveaway. We've raised so much money, and it's all for kiddos like this. You're not a kiddo anymore, I know, but for the kiddos like this. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Deborah Carrier, somebody's going to be calling you in just a few moments. Congratulations. All right, you're going to be one of those tailgaters out there tomorrow. We say pace yourself. It's going to be a long day tomorrow. Those UK fans, they're gearing up to watch the first UK football game of the season tomorrow night. But before people head to Kroger Field to watch the Wildcats take on Southern Miss, there are a few things that you need to know before you go. WKYT's Alyssa Williams is joining us live from Kroger Field. And Alyssa, how are these fans feeling ahead of this first game tomorrow? When you think about this year and you look back on it, do you have a word that reflects this past year, and what does it mean to you?
I'd say exciting. This is going to be our 4th best year ever.
Much like here at Riverview Park, to be able to see the water levels as high as they are here, even at this hour, people are still continuing to come and look at these levels. We just had a little boy who came up here and said, oh my goodness, and he's not wrong. The good news is, though, at about 4:30 today, the river levels here were observed at just barely over 48 feet. That is still high, but that is better than where we started. So that is some good news that the water is slowly starting to go down here in Frankfort. And also here in the capital city, there is a curfew that is in place. It remains in place tonight from 8 to 6 a.m. WKYT's Jessica Umbro is joining me live from here in Frankfort. And Jessica, I know that you actually talked to a woman who was cut off from her own home by the flooding. Now, along the Fayette and Madison County lines, we have been following a mudslide that was triggered by several days of that heavy rain. New pictures from today show that mudslide and flooding there at Clay's Ferry. Luke Laurie sharing those images with us. You can see the high water levels of the Kentucky River also causing flooding at Proud Mary Barbecue. And of course, that was hit just in this last recent round of flooding as well. Now, in Louisville, 4 police and fire boats ferried people to safety today from the Candlewood Suites Hotel there. Floodwaters turned the hotel really into an island, cutting off access to that property. 61 people had to be rescued and taken to a different hotel. That includes one couple staying at the hotel. They were there waiting for surgery. They checked in last night after driving from Fort Knox to get ahead of this flooding.
We went in around 6. And then we got up this morning, they said, oh, you can't get out. So I don't know when it rose.
Well, the hotel called Metro Safe this morning requesting help, saying the floodwaters had risen overnight. Metro Emergency Management says that they gave them enough time to coordinate that evacuation, although the floodwaters were actually too high for National Guard vehicles to actually help, and that is why they needed to use those boats to get those folks out, even a front-end loader there today. Here at Riverview Park, when I tell you what we're showing you, the water is so high, but when I talk about the berm that is on both sides of me here, and I talk to you about just how dangerously close that water got to going over it, it didn't, but it is still so incredibly high. You're just talking about what could have been here. Right now, there are still 538 some state roads across Kentucky that are closed. Just to give you a little bit of perspective, the Transportation Secretary today said back in February, at the height of the flooding then, there were just about 350 state roads closed. So you can tell just how widespread this is at this time. And again, the governor and other city and county officials, especially here in Franklin County, reminding people if you don't have to be out, please stay home. Please don't put yourself at risk or the first responders at risk if you were to get into some of these high water situations. I always like to look for the positive, so I'm going to show you right over my shoulder here. There is a redbud tree that is blooming out beautifully here at this hour, Bill, and it's just a little sign of hope that spring is here with us, that the weather will get better, and hopefully for all of these communities that have been devastated, they will get some good weather finally to be able to start the very long cleanup process. But it is a little sign of some beauty in all of this floodwater.